typically, if everything goes to plan, that's fine. But this day it didn't.
That's how we do it in the South.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. Grab a go-go juice. So anyway, we tell a lot of stories about sleazy car dealers, and we tell stories about felons, and we tell stories about drug dealers, and we tell stories about all kinds of stuff. But usually, we never talk about it from the other angle. We told a few stories where the dealer lost or the dealer got in trouble for something, or you know what I'm saying. But more times than not, it goes the other way. The story does. So this was actually a really interesting story. So a good friend of mine, we had drinks the other night, and we were just shooting the bull. Old school, been around new car dealerships his entire life, and we actually worked together at the Ford dealership back in the day, and known forever. And I've heard this story before, and then of course last night we got talking about just the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. Solving all the world's problems with a cool drink in hand. And there was this one story that was really crazy. So we had a guy that we worked with at the Ford dealership that was in Florida for many years selling new cars, and he moved up this way to be closer to family or whatnot. But he was telling us a story. You got to think about it. You have a lot of downtime in a new car dealership. You just got some days you're just sitting there with your hands in your pockets. You got to be there because obviously if you're not there, you can't sell. So you're just waiting on the crowd. You're waiting on a customer. And so that opens up a lot of time for other things, and that's shooting the bull is one of the favorite pastimes of car dealerships, and probably where I've been classically trained in this. But anyway, something kind of funny with this was this story, and we got to talking about it because this was 2007-ish, so this is a long time ago, and it happened a few years before this. And it's actually kind of scary because people don't understand. You've got a lot of people that are going into this industry, sales in general. Keep in mind you're dealing with the public, but this isn't like dealing with the public working at Best Buy or dealing with the public and working at insert mall here or insert store here. You're dealing with people on a one-on-one basis, and a lot of times by yourself with these people. And not everybody has, the best intentions. There's a lot of bad people floating around, and just like there's a lot of good ones. But, and you hear these stories, these horror stories, they're horrible, and they run through your mind. And you need to do that in sales because you got to have your guard up. You got to be that guy. You got to be, you got to be nice, and you've got to be, everything you need to be for your customer. But at the same time, you got to use your head because if you're not really, really careful, these guys look for just that opportunity where you let that guard down, they're going to come in. And this one was really scary. And it was one of those stories that just like, damn, just hits close to home for anybody in the sales biz, especially car sales. So anyway, this fellow, when he was in Florida selling cars, they had a really attractive salesperson there, and she was killing it. And I've said this a million times. If I was born female, I would have already been retired by now selling cars because a woman can sell when no one else can. And there's another line that goes with that, but I don't think that's YouTube friendly. So we'll just leave that one be. And most of you could probably put the rest of that together. Moving on with the story. She was just killing it. And, she was a real popular salesperson. Everybody loved her, real attractive from what he talked and all that stuff. And, you got to think about it. When you work at a new car dealership, most new car dealerships have what they call test drive routes. And test drive routes are basically, the same road all salespeople go down to do a test drive on a car. And you also have certain protocols you have to do to test drive a car. I need to get a copy of that driver's license. You've heard me say it a million times before. Hey, let's fill out this customer survey, aka a credit app. And yeah, we want to see if you can buy the car, but we also want that identification. We want to make sure you are who you say you are. And we do that. Back then, we did that for this very reason, is what I'm getting to. So, anyway, this attractive salesperson, at this dealership, and she was moving cars out of this place. I mean, she was rolling the sheet metal out the door, and she was hot to trot. She'd been doing it for a couple of years, and you get cocky, and that happens in this business. I'm the world's worst. You catch me on a hot streak, you can't tell me anything. But you can't let that guard down. And, we all get in a hurry, we all, hell yeah, let's take this thing on a test drive. Whatever you want to go, just zip it up the road, instead of, well, we need to go this way, take a turn here, or whatnot. You get sloppy sometimes, like, oh, let me get a copy drive. Oh, hell, I got it. I'll snap a picture of it, or I'll whatever, and it'll be good. Whatever. Let's drive this thing. Let's get on the road. This is slowing me down from making money. I'm making more. But you got to take those steps. Those steps are in place for very important reasons. And that's exactly what she did. She actually got her camera phone out, which was a flip phone back then, but she actually took a picture of the man's driver's license. Well, there was only one problem with that. They left with a car. Well, she left with him with her phone. So the dealership had no idea who was gone with the car with her. That's the first mistake. Like I said, this guy comes in looking at a car, yada, yada, yada. Man, I like this. Hey, let's take it on a test drive. Okay. Heck yeah. I'm on a hot streak. We ain't running here. We're out here already. Got our lockbox key, dropped the key, fired it up. And instead of going inside and copying that driver's license, she just snaps a picture of it with her phone. Be like, it's good enough. I got it. Yeah, you got it, but the dealership doesn't have it. And typically, if everything goes to plan, that's fine. But this day it didn't. They go on their test drive route, there's always, and I don't know if she told him, hey, you need to take a left here, and he didn't, he took a right, or whatever. I don't know what was the deal with that. They went on this test drive, and, they noticed that she didn't come back. A few hours later, where's she at? Well, they're trying to call her cell phone. No answer. They're, starting to get a little worried. It's getting close to closing time, and, she's gone with this car. And it took them a little while to figure out which car she even took, because there's no record of it. She didn't sign it out. She didn't do anything. All she did was take that picture of that driver's license. And she's not answering her cell phone. We're locking the doors. What's going on? At some point in this story, the authorities get called. I don't know exactly the protocol for that, but they were keeping a lookout. They finally figured out what car was missing, and said, hey, we're looking for, this description of lady and this car. They had no idea what she was doing. They don't know if she took the car. They don't know what happened at this point. They actually found the car about 9 o'clock that night. She was gagged and tied up in the back seat of it, sitting in a parking lot. She wasn't dead, and she was attacked and raped, but she was alive. And I mean, it could always be worse. I mean, that's horrible, but she was alive. And the thing is, guy, he just walks away. Well, that's one thing, but this story takes a crazier twist. Talk about just sick and twisted people. And, you got to think about the mindset of a person that would do something like that to another person. I mean, there's a special place in hell for those people. Moving on. Fast forward a couple of days later, she tells her side of the story and what happened, and, all this stuff and where it went wrong and all that. But the problem is, it's already happened. But this guy gets caught. He doesn't get caught because of what she said or what they found in the car. He gets caught because he tries to strike again. And luckily, he gets caught on this one. So let me just get a load of this. This is the craziest part of the story. The guy calls up a real estate agent, a female real estate agent, and there was a townhouse for sale in this, I mean, within miles of this dealership. And he calls and tells her, hey, I want to come look at a property that you're representing. You know, you got to think about it. All those real estate signs are the same. He got the little glamour shot picture, so he knew it would be a female he'd be dealing with. And she said, sure, you know, and he told a good game, I guess, or whatever. So she met him there. They walk into this empty townhouse. They shut the door behind him, and he tries to attack and rape her. Well, she had a little fight in her, and I guess whoever was in the townhouse next to this one, keep in mind they had a wall between them, you know, they're connected, heard them going back and forth. And next thing you know, he looks out his window and he sees a lady come running out. And then sees a guy walk out. Well, it don't take much to put two and two together. This guy comes out and whips his ass. And I mean, literally beats his ass right there in the front of this townhouse. And someone called 911, or he might have called 911 beforehand. I'm not quite sure the detail on that part. Well, anyway, the police get there and come to find out it's the same guy. He's out doing this again. I mean, a couple days later. And the even funnier twist to this story is the man that actually took him down in the front yard, that attacked him, that whipped his ass, was the service manager for that dealership. Small world sometimes, kids. Moral of the story, you know, I got a lot of you guys getting out into sales, going to work for your first new car dealerships. There's reasons why we take these steps. And I know they sound dumb, and I roll my eyes all the time for shit like this. But unfortunately, they're there for a reason. And stories like this is what's going to save you someday, too. Guys, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars.